Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having steamed vegetables and grilled chicken breast. Exciting stuff. All right, let's talk about higher specificity with conjugate. And I'm just giving this as alternative options, as particularly alternative options for power lifters, people who very specifically want to hit the classic big three, right? They want to have matches on them that they can do fairly often. And there's a couple different options here. And I'm going to kind of refer to other coaches with this. But I also want to state that for athletes who are not power lifters, right, they're going to compete in other stuff, contact sports, things like that. I think rotating bars on maxes is the best thing you could do, right? Rotating bars, bands, chains, right? We don't even need to test the classic three. We don't want to. We just don't have to. It's not necessary. And being strong at different angles will help them be better athletes. So, what are our options here? A couple different things. I'm going to refer to both Wendler and Winning because they trained at Westside. They both are very, very familiar with conjugate, and their methods came out of it. And then I'm going to give an alternative option. But the main thing we're looking at is that if you wanted to max out a lot more often on the classical lifts, we don't ever want to do them 2 weeks in a row. Not for a heavy single, right? Don't want to do it 2 weeks in a row. It becomes problematic. You potential to regress, potential for more overuse. And I want to state if we're doing this system, we need to definitely be rotating our supplemental work. Okay, if we're maxing on these often. Don't do a supplemental lift more than 3 weeks in a row. Change it. Rotate your speed work. But the thing is, don't do it 2 weeks in a row and no more than once every 3 to 4 weeks, right? You could, in theory, test your big three every 3 weeks. Test them every 3 weeks. So, what are your options? Option one, be to just 5-3-1 it. Literally do like Wendler's almost 5-3-1. Come in and test a 5-rep max week 1, test a 3-rep max week 2, test a 1-rep max week 3. Now people say, well, how do we split the squat and deadlift? Just do both of them on every lower day. Not that big of a deal. Just watch your total volume to account for it. Right? You can do the double max, just watch your volume. These guys who want to do too much volume run into problems with that. You could do it 5-3-1 and do it in a 3-week wave. You could run percentages for the 5 and the 3, then try to get a PR, a small PR if possible on the third one. All right, that's an option, and it's not a bad option. Alternatively, you could look at something like what Winning does in like 12-week blocks, to where I think something like every 4th week he'll test the classic lift, right? The normal classic lift, but he does like a 3-rep max, a 2-rep max, and a 1-rep max. But this gets spread out. This is like a 12-week cycle, and where he does it, we're almost linear periodization because he'll do percentages of what he thinks the max needs to be coming up for that single. All right, that's an option. Could also flip that back around. Do the same thing, 3-2-1 instead of the 5-3-1 in a 3-week block. Okay, those are things you can absolutely do. These are viable. They're viable because you're not testing the max more often than once every 3rd or 4th week. And in the case of what Winning is doing with it, really you're hitting a different rep range for the max each time too. Still very conjugate. You're really only testing your classic lift every 12 weeks, truly for a 1-rep max. So these are absolutely viable options, right? They're viable. In fact, I really even almost like the idea of the 5-3-1 If you really wanted high specificity with your classic barbell lifts, doing that, hell, you could even throw in the overhead press on those days too and do it double up. Right, do bench and press, and then do a squat and a deadlift. Of course, you're probably only going to be able to focus on one style of deadlift, right? But your speed work lets you rotate those still. Okay. But these are both options at work. What's another option? Particularly people who have still a lot of specialty bars and stuff, you could max every third or every fourth week on the classic lift and just rotate bars, right? Get strong at all your different bars. Get strong at all your different bars. And you could do every third or fourth week, you could test your max. Now, this is a little more unstructured. It's a little looser. But it works. And this would still be true conjugate. This would be true conjugate in the maxes, but you would be testing your classic lifts more often. And like I said, it's not a bad idea to do it this way also. Again, a lot of potential. But really, which one do I think has the most interesting way? I mean, if you really wanted the highest specificity possible and still being able to be somewhat true to the conjugate system, I almost like the 3-2-1. Right, I really like that one a lot. If you wanted to go this route, keeping in mind there's no reason that you have to go this route. If you're not concerned with your squat, bench, and deadlift, you could continue to do it the classic way. Rotate bars, bands, change variations all the time. Right, totally doable. But I think specifically for power lifters, raw power lifters, there's merit to doing it this other way because we get back to a little bit better specificity, but we're still keeping with the conjugate in the sense of we're rotating stuff every week. We can still change our supplemental work. Right, we can change our supplemental work, and then our speed work changes everything too. So in a way, we're combining some of the other Russian programming, but doing so in a more modernized way that lets us run a concurrent type periodization model to bring overuse down, right? To bring acclimation down. But really, we have 3 to 4 different options here that I presented. You can do it as a 5-3-1, do it as a 3-2-1. You could do the winning style, win those 12-week cycles, and then compete every 12 weeks. Or you could do it loosely as just every third or fourth time you max. You could do the classic lifts. I just wouldn't do them on a 1-rep max. Any way that you look at it, I wouldn't do them more than once every 3 weeks for a single. Just me personally. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.